on?
It's on, yeah.
Okay, call to order the April 17th meeting of the Zoning Board of Adjustment. Our first order of business is to hear CBA case 1801, a variance application by Doug Rollins. According to Dari, you're welcome to choose to hear it tonight or to have it continue to next week and next month, based on the fact there are only 4 board members. What would you like to do?
I think I'd like to move ahead.
Okay.
Yep.
Would you like to present?
Sure. Yeah. So my name's Doug Rollins.
Welcome to the table.
Oh,
Come on.
okay.
That'll be up to the bar.
My name's Doug Rollins, for those of you who don't know me. I've been a resident of this area since 1975. Local business owner. I ran and operated a real estate firm out of the building at 448 West Main Street in Tilton, across from the high school, for approximately 15 years. When I bought that building, it was previously a real estate office, and it was actually an old house that the real estate office was in, and then next door was a barn with 2 apartments. One of them was not inhabitable at the time, but the top one was. I did a complete renovation of this property in 2000, oh God, I don't even know the date, roughly around 2006, 2007, I believe. And redid both the main building and the, I call it the barn, next door. We rented the upstairs apartment. Since I bought it, it's been rented as a 1-bedroom efficiency apartment upstairs. Currently, my 75-year-old mother rents up there. She lives in that unit. Downstairs was, after I renovated it, it was turned into a 2-bedroom apartment, which we never really, we had a tenant in there for a short period of time. This was quite a few years ago. It then was rented to Lakes Region Airport Shuttle, and they were great tenants. They were there for probably 10 years at least. They stayed there until just recently they moved. After I sold my real estate company in 2013 to Berkshire Hathaway rented that main building, and then decided after they were there for a couple of years, we built a new office up on Route 3 in Belmont. At that time, we were seeking a commercial tenant for the main office. After a long time of trying to decide what to put in there, I started working with the Penny Youth Center. Chief Bob Cormier and Chuck Crew and myself and Stephen Rock and Ray Ann Rock and a bunch of good citizens in town got together and started working on putting the youth center in that main building. I was hesitant at first because I was getting quite a bit of rent out of that main building. But after a long thought of it, my wife and I both wanted to do something for the town. We wanted to do something for the youth. We gave them a 3-year lease with option to renew for the kids, to have the youth center right. It was a perfect spot. It made sense. It was right across the street from the high school. The kids walk across, so it worked out well. Once they moved in, when we got the Penny Youth Center approved, there was, at that time, they were concerned about parking in my parking lot, because this guy had 20 or 30 vehicles in and out of there, from the airport shuttle company. Wasn't too long after the Penny Youth Center moved in, there was a little bit of squawking about who was parking where and whatnot. Ultimately, I don't know if the Penny Youth Center was the reason that they moved out, but it was because, the parking was getting too limited. That was fine. They moved out. The Penny Youth Center was happy. Everybody's in there. So since October of 2017, the downstairs unit was empty. And I kept trying to rack my brain, what are we going to put in there? We had a couple of different entities approach us about going in there. Obviously, with the youth center, one of my hardships is I'm limited on what I can really put in there. You can't put tattoo shops, you can't put vape shops, you can't put, heroin recovery centers, you can't do whatever. So, long story short, one of my hardships on that form was the fact that I'm kind of limited next to the youth center. I gotta be careful of what I put in there, obviously. We don't want, something that's not gonna bode well with the kids. So my thought was, my wife and I said, you know what, it would be a lot less impact on that area, a lot less issues with traffic in and out across from the school, a lot less traffic for the kids at the Penn Youth Center if we did an apartment. It already has the 2 bedrooms in it, already has the bathroom in it, already had a kitchenette, so really the only thing that I would need to do is put a shower in there. I also went and talked with Attorney Sean Chandler, who does a lot with the town in these matters, so I had stopped in and asked him, I said, hey, what do you think about this? And he said, obviously, I represent the town on a lot of these matters, so it's a conflict of interest. I can't really represent you, but it was his opinion that looking at the variance application that I would be successful in meeting the criteria. I went over the criteria with him, we talked about it, and I tried to write down the best I could in layman's terms on my application. So I guess my hopes is that, in helping the town with the youth center, I'm hoping that they would help me in trying to put the apartment in there. It's already in keeping with the neighborhood. It's duplexes on all the way down that road across from the high school. It's already rental property. It's low impact. It's great for the youth center because I would only have 1 tenant in there. It's a lot less traffic, less burdensome on trying to see who's coming in and out of there with the kids there. And my mom already lives upstairs. It's already being used as a residential use anyway. So that's pretty much the gist of it. I hope I hit on everything. I think the biggest hardship for me was I didn't realize, like, when looking for commercial tenants there across from the school, like, what you can really put in there, especially with kids being next to where you can't, you're limited. So that's really my hardship part.
All right, so I just want to make sure I understand. So
Yeah.
you're going to put the second apartment on the first floor of this
Correct.
building?
Yeah, correct.
What is this? As far as the plan goes, what is this?
Oh, that's
shaded
just a parking area. That's a right-of-way that goes down to the back property, which I also own.
Okay.
I'm actually the abutter on the left side.
Okay.
Which is another thing too that helps us out. I own that, and I own 5 acres out back of the youth center property. So yeah, it would be the bottom floor of that second building. My mom's upstairs, and then there would be an apartment downstairs as well.
And I guess from my perspective, when the planning, did you go through the planning board when you put in
Yes.
a youth center?
Yes, yep.
And
Yep.
the number of parking spaces was, and I'm going to look at Eric, because he seems to know it.
Yep.
So on the
Yep.
planning board. So the parking spaces was,
I was not at that meeting.
nailed it.
We ended up giving the youth center, we ended up saying that they had the front part of the parking lot.
Okay.
And it was because I owned that shaded area as well, I was able to put the parking in there, and we looked at the drainage and all that, and everything was good, and they granted me permission for the youth center, and we had plenty of parking. And the youth center will definitely have plenty now, because there'll only be a tenant in there with maybe 1, maybe 2 vehicles tops versus 20. I mean, they were parking on the lawn area, it was getting out of control, and the Lakes Region Airport shuttle was in there. They just outgrew the spot.
So, you're talking this building, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
What's the square footage of that unit?
It's probably roughly about, I want to say 800.
Sorry, what's the, I'm having two numbers in my head. Is it 750 square feet minimum or 450 square feet to be considered residence? I thought we had an issue with that.
I think that was actually dropped.
Okay.
I think it was 650.
I have two numbers in my head, 450
Yeah.
and 750, and that's why I asked, but
450.
if he's 800, he doesn't matter. So
Yeah,
that's why I asked.
right.
So,
Good question.
Yeah, I had two really good sized bedrooms, they've gotta be at least.
is that a garage though? Isn't a garage door on that?
No. Actually, it's got a big, huge porch on the back. My mother has a little garden in the back, and I got a handicap ramp going up one side, and then up in the back, she has a nice big deck.
I've seen a car parked there quite a bit, right next to that building.
Yeah, that's my mom. Yeah, I give her a preferred parking spot. If I don't, I get in trouble.
What happens, you should lay it in her rent.
Yeah, you know, she's pretty good. She took care of me, I take care of her.
So, Jim, did you have a question?
No, I mean, not yet.
Well, you or did? No. Okay, so, I guess we're set with you.
Okay.
We just need to have a discussion amongst
Yep.
ourselves.
All right.
And Chairman Pritziano, at some point you might want to ask this huge crowd of people whether they want to speak.
Is any public comment?
Oh, is public comment first? All right.
It's up to you. I'm just
Yes.
reminding you.
Well, I'm part of the public.
Would the
All right,
public like to speak?
No, I think I'm all set, thank you.
All right. Okay.
That's taken care of.
Here we go. Okay, discussion. Do you have any major concerns with it? Is there any of the 5 criteria that we feel is in question?
I think, for me, it's zoned commercial, or
Yeah.
was it general commercial?
Yes.
Yeah. So that would be one concern, the zoning of that. But the hardship appears to be very legitimate on his part. I mean, he does have a challenge with the conditions, school, youth center, so there is a challenge on being able to stay within that zoning regulation of commercial.
Right.
So I can see that challenge. I don't see any detriment to the value of the properties in the area. So I don't think that there's a concern there whether it is allowed to become residential on the first floor or has to stay commercial. I don't see any detriment there.
So is the duplex that abuts the property, does that have a commercial?
No, it's just residential. You mean my unit?
No,
The one to the left?
The one here is that
Oh, yeah,
business?
nope, that's a residential. Yeah, those are both residential units.
Out of I think there's 4 residents to that left side.
Yep, and they're all duplex.
One of them is a business.
One of them
Like
is
a
a
jewelry
jewelry
store?
store. Yeah, kind of slash, but he lives there.
Yeah,
The one closest to the cemetery.
on the other
He's
side.
all the way down, yeah.
Yeah.
But there's 3 that are all the same construction, they're all duplexes right now.
Yeah.
So.
It's not, I don't see it being contrary to public interest.
Do we all agree that it does not adversely affect the valuation?
Property values.
Yeah, property values of the abutters or the area? Yeah. Does anybody believe it's contrary to public interest?
Doesn't appear that
Does anybody have?
My only question would be,
Go ahead.
is that on sewer?
Yes, yep, it's all hooked, even the back units hooked to.
I know the line ends somewhere
Yep,
in that
yep,
area.
yeah, it's all town water and sewer. And city gas. I got it hooked up to city gas as well.
So that would change the sewer usage, but not significantly.
Well, I was more worried about septic design, if it was a septic system,
All right,
Oh,
right.
because the number of people at the youth center.
Oh, yeah.
Back when I renovated it, there was some type of a septic system out back, I guess, or something years ago. But when I bought it, that was one of my contingencies, that the owner that I bought it from tied it into the sewer. And they did that, which was very good.
is there any question or concern about whether he's made a hardship case?
I think he's damned if he does, but damned if he doesn't.
Yeah.
It's a tough spot.
Well,
Yeah.
if he puts a vape shop there, then it's gonna get hung, right? And-
Yeah.
Right, and on the other hand, if he doesn't do something, he's financially,
Strapped.
I don't wanna say strapped, but his options of what he can put in there are severely limited, because I'm sure there's certain restrictions to the licensing procedure that the Pemmy Youth Center
Yeah,
has.
you can't have people wandering around the
Right.
property. And
So, as
I
a,
never really thought about it until afterwards, and then I said, oh,
well, peace of mind, I mean, you wouldn't wanna put a,
well,
you know, a tattoo shop in there, 'cause
Right.
whether or not it could be or not, it's the perception of the
Mhm.
public
Oh, yeah.
perception.
Yeah.
And my mother's upstairs too, so I wanted to make sure there's someone decent down there as well.
Yeah, I mean,
It's a two-bedroom or one-bedroom?
Too big.
yeah, you've got a challenge there as well,
Yeah.
finding an appropriate tenant.
Right, right. I actually have a good guy lined up if we get approved, it's a full-time fireman, Bob Cormier recommended, and he's, if I get approved, he's willing to go in, so I'll have a single fireman there, and I told my mother, leave the fireman alone. But it'll be nice that she's an EMT as well, so it's helps out in the area.
Okay, do we have any more discussion, any more questions?
The spirit of the ordinance is observed. The ordinance we're talking about, Dari, the spirit of the ordinance criteria, the ordinance we're talking about here is the zoning of the commercial.
True.
Is
I
that-
would agree with that, yeah.
So,
That's not mixed use.
But I guess I don't understand, all right, maybe you can explain it.
Yeah.
It's already being used as a residential
Yeah.
unit in the top floor. So
Right.
how is that?
I mean, yeah, I mean, like, if there has to be, like, let's say, I mean, a variance request is a request for a deviation from the zoning ordinance, right? So if you simply took spirit of the ordinance, no, the ordinance says you can't do it, so we gotta deny it, then there'd be no point of even having a hearing, right? Every single variance would be denied on the
True.
fact that it doesn't meet the spirit of the ordinance. So, basically, I'm just throwing the ball right back in your court and telling you guys that's for you
good,
to
but
decide,
it
yeah.
helps think about it. You know,
Yeah,
that's
right.
what we're here for. Our purpose
Right,
is to look at the ordinances and say, apply it to life.
yeah,
Because if we, like you said, if everything was, it's by the ordinance and only by the ordinance, there'd be no purpose for us.
yeah, right. And I guess I'll just add, you can look at, beyond simply what the ordinance says you can and can't do, you can look at what it's trying to, what kind of characteristics it's trying to forward in that zone, and then question, okay, is this use going to, you know, be contrary to those characteristics that the zoning ordinance is trying to forward? So yeah, that would be
Okay.
one way of looking at it.
So so for me, the question was not whether you could have a residential unit, but whether you could have 2 residential units. Because the jewelry maker is a commercial thing who lives at his residence, right? Is that why that's allowed?
Actually, I think you would need a variance to do that again today.
Okay.
So it's probably allowed because it's probably grandfathered. I can't say with 100% certainty.
Okay.
And there might have been a variance obtained, but I doubt it.
I think that's been like that
Yeah.
since I was a kid.
Right.
That even sold jewelry then.
Anything else? Do I have a motion to?
I'll make a motion that we approve, what is it, the variance for ZBA case 1801.
A second? A second. Any other conversation? What's okay?
Another question?
No other question? All right, shall we vote? All those in favor of approving variance application 1801, say aye.
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 Opposed? You have your variance.
Thank you very much, I really appreciate it. Thank you for your consideration. What do I do now, though?
Just give us a call tomorrow. Al will be in the morning and we'll figure out what to do. But probably you just need to get it. You'll need to get a certificate of occupancy
Yep.
from him.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
really important.
Yep.
To sort of top level importance. But other than that, building permits and whatnot. Yeah.
Outstanding. All right, thank you
I
very
don't know
much.
if you need anything from the fire
Appreciate it.
department.
Thanks,
All
Doc.
right. See ya. Have a good
Have a
night.
great night.
Too.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean.
Well, I assume this gives him the right to do it, and then he has to go through all the paperwork
Yeah, all the other-
associated with actually making it a viable.
Yeah.
Oh, that was nothing. That was nothing. I heard it all the way down. Okay. On
I
to-
didn't hear it.
Thanks. On to other business. Okay, so we have the meeting minutes from January. Are there any changes or comments to them?
No.
Do you have a motion to accept them?
Motion to accept the minutes, meeting minutes from ZBA case 1710.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we'll accept the meeting minutes. That's done. Do we have any additional correspondence?
I got one thing. This is just other business, not correspondence necessarily. If I could spit it in now. The state statute requires that abutter notices be sent out via verified mail. Now, the post office doesn't have a verified mail, as far as I know, so we kind of have to look at what is the state trying to accomplish there. We currently severely overdo it. We do certified mail with a return receipt. And the return receipt costs around $3. And it's not necessary. And it doesn't, if we don't get the return receipts, it's not like the case doesn't go forward. It still goes forward. It has no impact on the case. So I wanted to get the opinion of the board as to whether you guys have any problem with us switching to sending things simply certified, not certified with a return receipt requirement. Does that bother anyone, or does anyone have concerns about that?
What does certified mean or do?
Certified satisfies the verified requirement in state statute. It goes a little above and beyond. There's probably one cheaper way you could do it, but basically it provides proof that we sent the letters on time.
Proof if requested? Like, if you went to the post office and said, I need proof that this was
We,
actually
what
sent.
we do is we slap a little green tag on the envelope, and it has a little portion that you tear off, and we go to the post office to send them. We tear off all those pieces and postmark them. So we come back to the office that same day with a record that proves that we sent it out. We sent all those letters out on that date.
Tracking number and a stamp.
Yeah, there is a tracking number, yeah. Yeah, so.
He's right there.
Can't go far without those.
We had a few more questions.
Hold on, let me go.
I think that works fine.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, thanks.
Oh, I have questions, but you know I'm not gonna let it just go.
Yeah, I had a feeling. That's why I haven't brought it up with the planning board yet.
So, just to help me understand, because what I'm concerned about is someone saying that they didn't get it and not being informed. So, is there and like if I send something UPS, not USPS, but UPS,
Yeah,
I get a tracking number that I can go online and I can look and see that, this parcel was delivered at 12:10 on Monday the 15th.
So,
Is there that option with the certified mail?
there's a lot of options out there. I think there is such an option. I'll just say, if somebody didn't get their letter, but we know that we sent it, we're still within the law, and it would almost be unfair to the applicant to delay the proceedings because all of state statute has been met. So who cares? I mean, I don't want to say who cares, but the fact that, sorry, I'll
Yeah.
just finish this thought. But whether or not they received it has no bearing to us. I mean, it has no, it won't affect anything.
Does the statute have both saying that it has to be sent and received, or just it has to be sent?
Just has to be sent. That's be
Well,
verified. Yeah.
If you send out notices to let's say to me, my next door neighbor wants to change their property to a tannery,
Right.
okay? And you send out notices,
Good luck, yeah.
you send out notices,
Yeah.
and and all of a sudden now I challenge it and say, I never received the notice.
Yeah.
Where's the burden of proof? So,
I
It's
think.
on the town.
Well,
The
So
burden
now-
of proof would
so
be
now-
on the
but
town.
but it would quickly shift. I guess. Well, okay. Let's say I'm not. Let's just assume the burden of proof becomes on the town.
yeah.
We would simply go, here's the slip. We sent it. We covered our.
But now,
we're good.
if you have a tracking number, you can say that it was delivered.
Right, but we don't. What if it wasn't delivered? It doesn't matter. That's not.
Well, I mailed my
It
check.
does, though.
so,
I mailed my check in to pay my mortgage. Too bad you didn't get it. They're still gonna bill me for not paying
Alright.
my mortgage.
So
and if you're on the receiving end, or the receiving end and don't actually get it,
yeah,
and that's happened to me before,
yeah.
you get really pissed. It's not a pleasant, you
Right.
won't have a good day.
But I'm not telling you guys when you guys are not aware. Like, I'm not telling you I'm not giving you like a report at the beginning of the meeting. Okay, this many abutter notices were sent out, this many were received, this many came back to us. So it's not
Bearing on the
affecting
case.
anything. What?
It has no bearing on the case.
Right, yeah.
no, but-
And I honestly question how appropriate it would be for the board to delay the case.
So do you still advertise in the local paper
Yeah,
as well?
we have to, yeah. Yeah,
Okay, so you
fine.
have the advertisement in the local paper, you're sending it certified mail, so I know that you get a record. It doesn't mean the person who's supposed to get it actually receives it.
Right.
Because the mail person could have a problem.
Mess it up, yeah.
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 something, you know, the dog could take it, whatever.
But like, that's not on us, right?
But that's
That's
what,
not our problem.
Right.
Someone's dog takes it, or if the
Right.
person doesn't do their job correctly.
No, but I
We
think
sent
what
it,
Eric is
so-
trying to say is that what right does this person
Person
that
have.
doesn't
Okay.
receive it have?
They have 30 days to appeal the decision.
That's their right at that point,
Yeah.
by saying, I did not get.
But I never knew that it was happening.
Then you,
And all of a sudden, you've got this
that's,
hearing.
you know,
against you.
then you come and maybe you find out 90 days later, and then you know, go through what we recently went through, an argument as to whether it was submitted in a reasonable time, even though it's outside the 30 days, because it wouldn't have been reasonable for them to know, and potentially it gets sorted out at Superior Court. I mean, yeah, it's not ideal, but we go back to the fact that this is what's happening. You know, you go through our case, I've been here 4+ years now, you go through every single case, there's almost every case probably shows evidence of at least one letter not being received. And I also will add that when letters are not received, it is usually evident that no one was there to sign for it, and that there was no error made on the post office or the town's part. Usually it's simply, we're using the address that we have on file for them, that, you know, correctly on file, with the correct address that's on file for them. We're sending it to where they are, you know, wanting their letter mail to go, as far as we know, and they're not there to sign for it. So, sorry, that was a long explanation. But anyway, I don't know. We can continue if you guys want to think about
But
it.
certified mail, if I'm not mistaken, you have up to 2 weeks to go and get that, correct?
I
yeah.
don't
You
know.
can go to the post office,
Yeah.
if you don't sign for it at your residence, you can go to the
Then
post
you-
office, and I think you have 2 weeks to,
They leave you a sticky.
yeah.
Yeah,
to get
right,
it.
right.
But
You
it
know.
also gets noted on the tracking that it was attempted.
Yes, on that, on.
I'll give you an example not related to this, but my mortgage company recently changed, and I researched the company, and one of their issues is that even though people mail their checks in on time, they didn't cash them until after the 15th, and they hit people with late fees. So what I did is, I'm like, and I sent it out. I sent it out certified, and I get a card back in the mail with a stamp on it, so that I know I have my proof that they received it by the 15th.
Yeah.
But it doesn't say attempted.
No, it just says, no, because it's
So-
on the PO box. but-
Yeah.
I guess given what the audience member included, that how long before the meeting do you send those things out?
Yeah, so on ZBA, it's really ridiculously tight. The requirement is 5 days before the meeting.
Okay, so they could get it, but they may not, they have the ability to pick it up for 2 weeks.
Yeah,
So there could be a miss
yeah,
there.
yeah.
But they would still have gotten this
The notice
sheet,
that
the notice
something-
and that there was something there.
Right, yeah,
So,
yeah.
So in your 4 years of this, have you had anybody complain that they didn't get their letter, and so therefore there's an issue with what's going on?
Yeah, I think one time somebody complained that he didn't get his letter. And I said, I'm sorry, we
So he
sent
wasn't
it.
able to attend the meeting and have his input? And would it have changed?
I honestly don't have a clear
No, I
recollection.
think they came to the meeting, but they just said that they didn't get the notice, they heard it from somewhere else.
But would it have changed the outcome if the person
Oh,
was
are you
not
talking
there?
about,
I'm not gonna name the case, but I don't know if it was this or planning, but there was a case.
there was, so that, if it's the one I'm thinking with planning, he actually was not in a butter.
Right.
He thought he was, because he was in a butter.
So there's
in the
been no other
past.
issues in the real big, huge
Mm,
legal
Well,
issues?
Yeah, and definitely never an issue. If I'm sure I've gotten calls where people said, I didn't get a notice. And I probably said, we sent one to you. And that was the end of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm fresh out of my NHMA meeting.
Oh, how was it?
It was good. And when you said notice, they never mentioned in that anything had to be mailed out to a butter, like certified or anything like that. They basically said like a notice, of a meeting has to be posted in two places, one of which could be the town website,
Yeah.
and the other place could be, say, it has to be published somewhere where those places are.
Yeah.
For instance, that little reader board outside town hall. That's all you have to do.
That's there too?
Well, no, that's for a meeting,
Yeah.
but
they
a
made
public
no mention.
hearing, yeah, so, sorry, I didn't mean to, that's only 24 hours prior to the meeting.
Right.
Yeah, so that's pretty easy to meet. It's when you get into a case where there's a hearing that the new.
Wasn't brought up, that
addition-
part.
Yeah, right,
So,
yeah. So was it a 91A workshop, a right to know workshop?
no, it was,
That's it.
for newly elected officials.
Oh, right, oh, good.
It was a great.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Beautiful
So-
town.
So do you guys,
So,
I mean,
do you want us to take a vote on it? I mean, really, I don't have a problem
I
with
think it's
it.
fine.
yeah,
Eric?
I think speaking for the general public, it would not be an issue.
yeah, okay.
Well said.
You would charge
Eric,
the
Eric has a problem.
Well,
I'm just kidding. I like the paper trail, so that's just me.
okay.
But you do have some type of tracking number
Yeah, there is.
still on there that you can call the post office, even though it was not signed.
I want to call the
receipt.
post office, or I can go online.
No, you
He can go online or call the
Yeah.
post office and you can say, yes, it was delivered,
I'd just like
Or
to
but
see
it
if
was
that
not
option is available.
signed for.
I'm pretty sure, when I was here, was it last week or whatever, you were taking out those green tags. Is that what you're talking about?
Probably,
There
yeah.
is a tracking number on the bottom of those things.
Yeah.
There is a tracking number associated with
But it's
the
not going out
process.
between cars anymore.
Yeah, I wonder if you pay the extra with the return receipt and
I
that's where
believe
the
if you
tracking.
just,
number-
I believe if you just do certified mail, there is still a track.
There is,
There is.
yeah,
You
that
can get
sticker
it,
is
but you
still
can
on
check
there.
that.
All right, I tell you what, why don't this is good feedback. I just wanted to get a sense of how, what was important to board members. I'll research the different options that are out there.
Does
and come back.
certified mean it has to be signed for by the person or anybody can sign for it? Is that's another
No, actually,
option.
the return receipt is where you sign. The simple certified mail, I guess maybe nobody signs for
No,
it.
they just scan the barcode and off they go.
And they say that it's delivered, so therefore that would be your,
But I don't know where you get that. I'm not sure where
You
you're
get that
able to
on the
access that
USPS.
data.
yeah.
You can actually, yeah, you can look at the
Website.
tracking number on the USPS
Okay,
website.
okay.
So,
All right, so that's good. So we could potentially do that. So I'll update you guys at the next meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, all right.
Okay.
Sorry to be difficult there.
No, that's good
No,
conversation.
I think it's good.
Because I know what's coming up before another board,
Yeah, right, exactly.
We want no issues.
and there's other people that have other opinions.
Okay, so Jim, you wanted to open a discussion about,
Yeah, just, so about the, officers or how do we want to, do we want to set up a rotating schedule? Do we want to just pick now? Do we want to wait until next meeting? How do we want to approach it? Because we have to make we either have to make a decision or have to make a change. Is that?
I think, yeah, I mean, so the rules of procedure set that officers are elected in March. So this would be our first opportunity to meet that requirement. I feel like I remember, I think it was zoning board, or no, maybe it was planning board, that at the end of a meeting, they just weren't ready to make the decision, and they simply said, we'll make the decision next time. So I think that's an option. I know the last zoning board, they had a rotation of 2 people, where basically the same 2 guys kept switching chairman and vice chairman. And I think they liked, having that set term, and they knew they were going to do it for a year, and then they were going to get a break, and that seemed to work well. I think in this case, we probably have, we have more than 2 sort of leadership, characters. And I don't see why we need to limit it to 2-person rotation. But I do think the rotation has a positive effect. I think it's good for the members and it's good for the town. So But yeah, if you guys want to, you know, throw out some names tonight, great. If you feel like it's kind of awkward, you're not really ready, you'd rather maybe talk amongst yourselves a little bit. I don't see a problem. I might get yelled at by someone, but I'll survive.
Does anybody in the audience have anything to add?
I guess it would be chairperson previous.
Or current, I guess.
Current, except for today. I don't have a problem either going to chair or to alternate or to board member. It's been fun, it's been wonderful, but if somebody else would like to step up to the plate, get on a soapbox, absolutely come at it.
I personally know, being vice chairman, this is the hardest thing I've had to do.
It's been different. It's been fun. I mean, I like it, you know. As Dari knows, I always call him and go, now what's the legal aspect of this? Because that's the part I love. And he's like, well, wait a minute now. You know? And then I kind of research a little bit too much. But, so, you know, I've had fun with it. You know, it's up to you. If you think you can, you know, step up, then sure. If not, Jim or Eric or Elizabeth.
I'm an alternate.
I'm
I'll be where I am.
You're an alternate. You said that awfully.
You could change that though, can't you? Even though you're on planning board, correct?
I am an alternate.
Wasn't I an alternate for like 2
Yeah,
months?
she was supposed to be an
It was me.
alternate.
I
Yeah,
just did my
Yeah,
job.
sorry.
No, I was.
Who messed up here?
That's all I've
planning board.
that's all I've been is an alternate. And I think Joe Jessamine the other alternate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, really, we only have 4 regular members and 2 alternates, so really we should move one of you into a full-time. It probably makes sense to do Joe, or have Joe do that since you're on the planning board and you're also on other town boards and
Will
bodies.
Joe
so-
be here? Because I mean, he was supposed to be today too. Will he be?
Yeah, I mean,
Alternate is safe.
we don't have to decide that today.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So it's up to you.
Okay, all right, so what do you think?
Did you say, Marianne, did you say you don't want to do chair, or is that what did I hear that, or sorry?
Oh, no.
okay.
I don't care. I've done things in other
Yeah, okay,
organizations where you end up being the same thing over and over and over
Right,
again, or you rotate and it all
Okay.
works out.
I just want to make sure.
I also like the rotating
Yeah,
thing
Yeah.
because it gives other people pushes their boundaries, you know, pushes them out of their
Right.
comfort zone a little bit.
Yeah, I agree with the rotation as well.
yeah,
I can tell you that what the fire commission does is whoever's term is up that year,
yeah.
traditionally, it can still change, but traditionally it serves as chairman in their last year.
Oh,
What?
that's an interesting thought.
What did they do?
Oh,
So the
so,
Board of Fire Commissioners, there's 3 fire commissioners, so
oh,
they're all 3-year terms. It's like, I'm due this year.
Oh,
So there's another guy that's up for election next year, another one after that,
Right.
and then the following year.
right.
That would be Jim.
So
So
traditionally,
Jim's up next?
traditionally what they do is whoever's term it is their
Oh, no,
last
Jim, we
term
just signed you in.
Right. Is,
So I guess it would be
becomes voted the chair.
Marianne.
see, because mine's
Well-
only 1 year.
But Jim, I don't. Yeah, I
Mine
think
is
we're
only
all,
1 year, yours is what, 3?
3, yeah.
Some
I
people
guess-
has 2.
your term would end, you're gonna have to sign in a year
Next-
from now.
Next year.
Yeah, so you would be in that role. You're good for 3 years. You're good for 3 years.
No, I was only good for 1 year.
Well, you will be good for 3 years once we,
You guys,
Yeah,
most of
yeah.
you guys have filled previous terms. in that-
Right.
so, yeah,
Yeah,
I
mine was
mean,
supposed to end in 2019, yours is after that,
So
so.
based on that assumption,
she would do it.
she would
And you
do
would be vice?
it, and then vice chair is dictated.
And then I
Oh,
guess,
When's Olivia, 2020? Oh, all
The TV show.
right. All right. I was like, huh?
I didn't look at
But
everyone.
no, that's all right. Is that
I'm an alternate in perpetuity. or
in
whatever.
perpetuity? All right, so
Do you want to,
do we want to agree to that now, or do we want
Do
to,
we need to vote on it?
do we need to go, well, you want to wait a month, or?
it's up, yeah, I think if you want to go ahead tonight, then I think someone should, make a motion, nomination, whatever, and maybe for both positions, just so we can get it over with. Otherwise, if you guys want to wait until next time, that's fine too.
Are you guys okay?
I'm good.
Then, I guess just being here in the public, I think would be a great idea to do that now.
Same here.
All right.
Guess I can't, but I can't make a motion to, like, for me.
Neither can I.
So,
Olivia, yeah.
yeah.
Properly make a motion.
So here, I'll feed it to you.
Okay.
I move to nominate, or to, let's say just to name, we'll get right through the nominate process. I move to name Mari Ann Princiata as chairman and Jim Engel as vice chairman of the zoning board.
Okay. I don't think I can remember last
You, that's fine, you said
I
it.
make a motion that like, we nominate Marion Princiati as chairman and Jim Engel as vice chairman of the ZBA.
I second that. I'm good at that. You're welcome.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye. Aye. Okay. Okay,
We're good.
we're good.
All right, congratulations.
And I have one more, I have one more question. Is anybody going to the conference on the 28th?
Oh, I am.
I am.
What conference?
Better be
Well,
done.
If you didn't sign
How
up,
many
it's too
emails I
late.
get a day now?
Is it planning?
I need to come up with a new email just for words.
The OEP Spring Conference, I think it's you, me, Juliet Harvey, and Sheena. Have you met Sheena?
I have mentioned.
Okay.
Oh, by the
ladies.
way, you need to congratulate Sheena for being named to the Northfield Planning Board.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So-
Okay, I was just curious if anyone else was voting. Okay, do we have any other business? We have a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
That was easy.
All of those in favor?
Aye.
All right, aye.
Vote
Good.
15.
Couldn't do that one? I could have done that.
5:52.
All right.
By 5:53, the place is dark. That's,
Yeah. Very good. Thank you guys for meeting early. My son has his last high school concert. Oh, my God.
What does he play?
He sings.
Oh, sorry. Carry two wind instruments.
Not yet. I called Attorney Radigan. He's, yeah, 100 Drive. The decision hasn't been handed down yet. Yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
that's interesting.